Welcome to Cartoonist Kayfabe. My name is Ed Piskor.
I'm Jim Rugg.
And today we're going to be looking at the first issue of the new X-Men, X-Men issue 94, but we're going to look at it by way of Classic X-Men issue number 2, because Classic X-Men is Chris Claremont's version of X-Men Grand Design. But before we crack these open, I want to invite you guys to like, follow, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the bell icon to mitigate the kayfabe effect. Whenever we talk about books, those books disappear off of eBay and Amazon, and if you watch these videos to the very end, it gooses the algorithm and pushes this video content out to other Comics Loving YouTube viewers who aren't necessarily aware of Cartoonist Kayfabe at the moment, but will be and become new subscribers. It just helps the channel out in a big way. So, Jimmy, I call Classic X-Men Chris Claremont's X-Men Grand Design because there's this very cool conceit that is involved in the first, say, 40 issues or so, where there are actually fresh pages that are inserted into the actual story. There are some pieces that are taken out, and then there's just a beautiful, lush backup story that would be drawn by John Bolton, for the most part, that would kind of sow some seeds that will be explored in future issues of the X-Men reprints. And it's Chris Claremont's opportunity to try to
revise history.
Exactly. Try to get it all to work. Cartoonist Kayfabe is brought to you by the comic books that we make. Jim Rugg and Ed Piskor are lifelong cartoonists with a heck of a bibliography, and March is Cartoonist Kayfabe month at the comic shops. Jim Rugg is going to be presenting you Hulk Grand Design Monster at the end of March, and Ed Piskor is going to be bringing you Red Room Trigger Warnings issue number 1 on March 9th. High octane Incredible Hulk comics distilling down the history of the Incredible Hulk into 2 solid 40-page comics coming month after month. This will be coming out in April, Incredible Hulk Grand Design Madness. These are the variant covers to go along with Hulk Grand Design. The first run, the Ed Piskor, the Marcos Martin, the Peach Momoko. Got this Jeff Darrow cover that's going to come with the second issue. And Jim, you've yet to print me up the Ed McGuinness variant cover that's coming up with that next one.
Coming soon.
Red Room Trigger Warnings, Murder on the Dark Web for Fun and Profit. First issue coming out, like I said, March 9th. And these are the additional covers to go along with that. The Jim Rugg, by way of Robert Crumb, Peach Momoko, and the Eddie P variant. Going to be coming out on a monthly basis, completely self-contained. And Rising Tide Raises All Ships. And we have other books in print at the moment. The rest of Jim's bibliography that you could get on Amazon or at a good comic shop today. Plain Jane's, Street Angel, Deadliest Girl Alive, collecting all of his Image Comics versions of Street Angel. We have new printings of Hip Hop Family Tree that are out in the wild, the box sets and individual issues, so they are no longer $200 on eBay and Amazon anymore. WYSIWYG, still in print. Portrait of a Serial Hacker, get your hands on that. And the Grand Design that started them all, X-Men Grand Design, 3 volumes of that you can get easily at any good comic shop or on Amazon. And there is also an omnibus that is out of print, but you might be able to find it in the wild here and there. Was out at the flea market recently, saw a copy. Now that we're done paying the bills, let's get back to the video. And let's take a look. We did Giant Size X-Men not too long ago.
It's crazy that he's working in that vein, you know, like sort of tying up ends, maybe making sure a new character is you know, give him a little extra shine or whatever, because he's still writing like new adventures at the time, and probably spin-off books and New Mutants, and you know, who knows what all he's doing.
This is 1986, so he's... The gravy train is rolling, man. Yeah. He's got several miniseries under his belt. New Mutants is going on.
Imagine how strange that is, like head trip. Like you're reading your work from 10 years ago, changing it a little bit, and working with the same characters 10 years later.
Well, another cool piece of this early issue is that you're working with the same artist that drew that original 94 to draw these fresh pages. You know, in the future there will be guys like Karen Dwyer who pop in and redraw some pages here and there that fit tidily inside the classic X-Men issue. But you get the same artist, man, to add his strokes to this piece, man. And I guess we should make note of these like amazing Art Adams covers and frontispieces.
They did such a good job on the classic X-Men in a lot of the reprints. Marvel Tales would have, like, McFarlane did a clip of those covers for a while. Oh, yeah. Such good repackaging of older, you know, if you're going to sell older material to a new audience.
So smart.
Make those covers look fresh.
So smart. The direct market is in effect. Art Adams has proven to be you know, an up-and-coming superstar, you get his name put on a thing. That adds some value to the game. Jimmy, I've been a big fan lately, man, of just like kayfabe backgrounds in comics without like so much reference. And this is the era, you know, where Dave Cockrum is.
Welcome to the club, by the way, Ed.
Yeah. So, hot off the heels, Giant Size X-Men, and this carries on nearly immediately. They just come back from Krakoa, and it's like a debrief session. And Sunfire, he's feisty. He's saying, not only is my duty to God and country, but if you ever look to me for help again, fuck y'all.
Idealistic fools.
So, Jimmy, what I want you to do with the essential black and white issue, just keep your eyes peeled, man, because there might be some pieces that are redrawn within the bodies of regular pages, and whenever we come to a page that just isn't in the OG, let's take a look at that, man, and see what that is.
I like Dave Cockrum's Wolverine mask. It's really cool. A little different than what we had seen, like, in the Hulk.
Yeah, absolutely.
Little update, but I think it looks sharp.
Yeah, because, like, what is that? Like when you see the, like, whisker eyes or whatever, like, what is that? And then when you look at Dave Cockrum's thing, it's like, what is that?
Yeah, it's bizarre.
It's one of those things, too, where you don't ever see it in the movies and stuff, and you're like, yeah, of course, like, I don't know how this could ever make sense. There were some fan films done. I think it might be, like, a Lobo versus Wolverine or something that you can find on YouTube, and they give the Wolverine, like, a plastic kind of mask like that. It works. It looks pretty fucking cool, man. In terms of efficiency when you're running through the bush, I think it could be a problem, because I'm telling you, Jimmy, these glasses on my eyes can pose a problem of just bumping into stuff that's closer than I thought.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
But aesthetically, and that's all that matters. A lot of, you know, this is the difference between, like, Chris Claremont and, let's say John Byrne, who we did a deposition of not too long ago, and John Byrne's talking about Alpha Flight, and how, like, those characters never rang true to him, never felt right to him, because they weren't these already established things. What a gift to be given a complete blank slate of characters in a Marvel DC space, and really put your all into it, man, and create a wing. Like, take it with such seriousness and put so much effort into it that it does become something. You know, like, Chris Claremont wasn't put off that Stan and Jack didn't draw Colossus and Wolverine and Storm and Nightcrawler before. He had a ball. And this issue is pretty much establishing relationships. There's not even really a villain in this thing.
It's kind of neat the way the new X-Men work, because it is like they're being put over.
Yeah.
You know, you've got the old team in wrestling terms that are sort of like giving them the rub.
Right.
And not for long. I was surprised reading this, and I think I read this when the Essentials was coming out. I didn't read the classic X-Men, didn't read the originals. Wasn't born whenever this was published. Found a comic older than me.
Yeah.
But reading this week, I was surprised by, it's like Claremont arrived fully formed.
Pretty much.
I thought halfway through, or near the end of this issue, I was like, is this a double-size issue? Because I saw the page count as I'm reading it, and I'm like, we're getting near the end of a regular comic, and nothing much has happened.
Yeah.
It's a lot of, the soap opera is alive and well in this. A lot of these characters sort of arguing with each other and just talking.
Yes, and this was the era, like, this X-Men comic, this is new comic, and it was that period of time where the comics were 17 pages. So some of the extra pages that are put in here are just for that extra value of hitting that 22-page mark that we're used to. So you got to have your Danger Room sequence.
I love that Cyclops is pointing at it. It's like labeled.
Super clear storytelling, man. This is for shorties. And I mean, let's dissect that a little bit. Here's the Danger Room. All you have to, like, visually, right? All you have to do is go to exit through the body language of our guy Thunderbird right here. Wasn't he your favorite character when you saw him when you were little?
He looked really cool.
Because you're like Warpath, you know, like Rob Prime the Pump. Through the body language, you see him being laissez-faire, a little bit of hubris, disappear, fly out. That's great, tongue-in-cheek Marvel storytelling.
Yeah, I agree. It's kind of a classic. You know, it's classic comics.
Yeah.
Right? You know, it's a lot of, we say show, don't tell, but in this case, you're not even showing. You know, it's sort of like before and after, and we don't need to see the middle part. Because
this is the Chris Claremont canon, too, being established. There will be several times throughout his run where we have this exact moment where the egotistical character like pops in, gets tossed out. Then when it's time to give Kitty Pryde her rub, she walks in, younger than everybody, a girl, and boom, she makes it.
Yeah.
And that becomes an epic thing, and
That's
that makes
really
this
cool.
That makes this character arrive.
It's that is setting his character.
Yeah.
So here's our first big variation. Go back a page.
Yes.
So instead of this page, we have this. And I was reading a reprint of the actual issue, and I was like, yeah, the left-right doesn't line up.
Right.
So there's Thunderbird being thrown out of the door. But then you turn the page, and it's like, this is amazing. I was reading this, and I'm like, this is beautiful. Like, what a gorgeous page. And to see that they cut that in Classic X-Men, I'm shocked.
Yeah, they added 2 pieces. They added this page, and then they added this page. So they basically took the montage and they spread it out a bunch for whatever reason.
I would say this, like, to me, this is a sign of a bunch of writers making the decision.
Sure.
Because this is the best looking page in the issue.
Yeah.
And they choose to get rid of it, not for narrative purposes necessarily, but
Right.
just to expand their characters. And I don't know, man, maybe it's an issue 2 and you really want to introduce these characters, and so that's what you get. But wow, you're sacrificing, again, the best looking page in the book.
It's one of those things too where like this is how I
Is it a
read
visual medium?
Yeah. How I read the original X-Men, and then at a certain point it's like when you realize you're getting the Hollywood version, it does feel weird, you know? Like when the Essentials came out, that was like one of those great illuminations, man, where I totally, because I read those comics a million times, and I'm reading this, I'm like, something feels different here. And then we're going to get another sequence. So let's illustrate that real fast. So it ends with Thunderbird. And Thunderbird is like, you almost want him to die. He's very annoying.
Reading this made me wonder, like, when Claremont decided he was going to die.
I feel like it's this issue, man.
It does seem like from the get-go...
Because he's reckless.
He's got short... Yeah, it's good storytelling. This is, again, wrestling. Like, you're laying down this information that will pay off.
Yeah, and I mean, is it the next issue where the dude is toast?
I think so. I thought it was this issue. That's why I was looking at the back going, like, what's happening?
Right. All right, so in the original issue, it goes from that to Chapter 2. But in Classic X-Men, Claremont wants to build a piece where there's some interaction between Professor X and Cyclops regarding the team, regarding Scott as leader, regarding Jean.
And this makes sense. Like, in the existing page, Professor X interrupts their argument, Thunderbird and Cyclops, and says, Scott, come to my office.
Right.
But we don't get that in the actual original comic. We don't get the office scene. Yeah,
so there's the office scene. And now let's sow the seeds for future characters that are going to show up. Like, this page is also not in the original X-Men 94, because if it was, then it would be a raw key on the strength of Moira McTaggart's first appearance, as well as Rain. See, I have to fight nature to call her Rain, because I always called her Ron as a little kid. But establishing that, you know, Moira has some affinity toward mutants, has some affinity toward youth, and establishing Ron as being part of, you know, she's orphaned and has an ogre for a foster father, family, whatever. Also, telegram is sent from Charles Xavier, so she's going to show up in an issue or two. So it's establishing that she's going to pop up again at a later date. And then there's one more page that just adds to the recklessness of the Thunderbird character. Storm is kind of just enjoying, you know, she's still in goddess mode where she's believing that hype. And she spots Thunderbird gonna jump off a super giant cliff that will kill him. And she rescues the dude. And he's like, anything Wolverine can do, I can do. Which, the reason why they cited as killing Thunderbird was because you had 2 Wolverines.
Right.
It was the same character. So get rid of one of them. And he says, you know, anything Wolverine could do, I could do better. And then she establishes that he's got the adamantium skeleton, all of that sort of stuff, which I don't think necessarily was established early on. Like when there is an issue. It's like when I think it might be when Jean Grey turns to Phoenix, where the claws pop out of his hand, and I think it might be like Banshee or somebody who's like, hold up, those claws are in your hand. like, why didn't you say anything? And Wolverine goes, well, you never asked.
Yeah, right.
You know, but before
the stock
that,
answer.
Yeah, but before that, like they were part of the gloves as far as anybody knew, which is like one of those interesting little things.
It is cool because that's as far as readers knew.
Exactly. I feel like everybody knows. Well, I know what NORAD is because of X-Men comics.
That's funny. These character designs I enjoy quite a bit. That feels very Dave Cockrum-y. It feels very DC Comics.
It does feel DC Comics for sure. Feels like old comics. It's fun, you know, like you could not do, like, people would shit on this so bad right now.
Oh yeah, imagine if that was like the latest X-Men where these characters.
Because you know what it would be? Like, they would trace off like a cat head, trace off a gorilla head, trace off a chicken head, and it would just look disgusting.
Yeah, I think the animal characters were just common. Like, I have old Silver Age and Golden Age stuff where it's like bank robbers with, you know, animal masks, heads and stuff, but they look like legit animal heads, you know, at least in the cartoony language.
Dude, talking about giving stuff a rub and creating this like it's a wrestling career or a boxing career. It's like, these are young kids. Like, you don't put Tyson in the ring with the champion yet. He's got to get a couple of wins under his belt.
Pretty good. Yeah.
So you got these jobber villains. Count Nefaria, who gives a fuck about him? And these little like dudes made of haystacks and shit. That's whack, you know. So let our guys take care of some weak villains to start before you build up to the Magneto confrontation.
You mentioned kayfabe backgrounds in the beginning. I look at a panel like this, and wow, it's the opposite. You know, like, you've got 15, 16 figures visible in a third of the page.
Yeah.
Like a tiny panel. That'd be a 2-page spread easy if I were doing this comic.
Yeah, in a couple of issues, just wait till you see some of those Dave Cockrum 2-page spreads and what he does with those, man. Put about 50 characters on a page. All right, we're getting to a redrawn piece, man, because the Avengers are busy. They can't handle this NORAD nonsense. So Beast, who was in the X-Men at one point in time, contacts the X-Men to handle that biz. And, you know, this is reasonably on model. I mean, this is on model for what we think of as Beast. This is a little, like, what the fuck? You know, there's a little wonkiness to that, but it's nothing compared to the wonkiness of the original drawing. Even though this looks just fine. And this looked weird. Like, you could have kept this one and, you know, just change this thing up. But in all fairness, like, if you look at those Adventures in the Fear, like, I think it was, like, Mike Plug or somebody. I know Gil Kane did the covers and stuff. But it took a while to solidify what Beast looked like.
Blue Beast,
yeah. I think John Byrne had a good hand in that when he was, like, on Avengers. Like, he helped make him, but my timing can be off with that sort of thing. But once again, another opportunity. Like, it's not just flat out reprint. Let's go into the and I wonder if this would be a thing, like if we show this to John Romita Jr., if he's like, oh yeah, my dad drew that.
That's what I wonder too. That's what I was thinking too. It feels like wouldn't just they put the bullpen on this, somebody in house to revise this drawing. And
then we wind their story up to the climax, which is Count Nefaria hits the Blackbird jet with a couple of missiles, and all of our guys are tumbling to the ground. The end. Buy the next issue whenever you can. And we have our first, we have our John Bolton backup story. I don't know that I ever saw the backup story in issue. I only have issue 2. I don't have the first issue. But we established that in the body of the regular comic, Jean Grey and the rest of the OG X-Men, with the exception of Cyclops, they're done. They're going off into their civilian life. This is the new X-Men. So the story that we have here is Storm going to visit civilian Jean Grey, and stuff ensues. But this is a character drama, you know, like this is the characters interacting, building a little bit of stuff with their personalities. Of course, you got to get a little bit of nonsense in here.
John Bolton's amazing.
Oh, so good.
These backgrounds look so cool.
Yeah, so good. And real interesting ink line. Like, you just didn't see this kind of ink line in Marvel DC Comics. And this is a British dude. You know, he's coming from that paradigm of comic book making.
Yeah, I wonder how far into, like, painting he was at this point. Because I always think it's interesting when you see painters do the pen and ink.
Yeah.
It's often, I think it's often very attractive, but also a little bit of a different eye. These are guys who are attuned to light.
Right.
And you know, get a little more of that.
So this strip is used to pepper in some character stuff with our guys. So like Roro claustrophobic, doesn't want to go in dark, dank areas. And also a little bit of allusions to, like, the Callisto fight that's going to happen sometime later, man, when she becomes the leader of the Morlocks and that whole bit.
I love this effect of going from your straight edges into, like, the almost vertigo, like, how do you draw that?
Right.
It's cool to see people trying that. And even translating into what we're going to see here is it's becoming that spiral motif.
Yes, and Jean Grey, she could use further instruction from the school for gifted youngsters, man. She's tapping into everybody's mind, trying to look for the kid. And she's using her powers willy-nilly, even using them on Storm, which Storm takes great offense to. Like, imagine hanging out with somebody and they could tell what the hell you're thinking at that given moment.
Beautiful clouds.
Look, how about that, man?
Yeah.
The drapery getting pushed back and things. So this is Storm punishing Jean Grey a little bit. Yeah, I'm just saying, like, look, what if I use my powers on you a little bit?
Somebody figured out what to do with John Bolton whenever they assigned this job to him.
I do wonder where he came from before this, because this is how I know him.
Mm-hmm.
This is my introduction to the guy. And then we have our melodramatic ending. Let's be friends. Let's descend together. Yada yada. And,
that was another smart piece, putting in those backups, you know, for if you want people to buy reprints.
Yes, sir.
Add some extra stuff in there.
And Bolton would draw a back cover for every issue for the first couple dozen issues, maybe three dozen issues or so.
I like that Storm. That cape is pretty cool.
He would draw a different character every issue, and they would be these, like, pretty cool compositions, like almost like those, like, portfolio illustrations rather than just, like, pin-up, you know, like stuff that you would find in, like, fanzine.
It'd be interesting to do, like, the evolution of the Marvel pinup. Because so many of those early, you know, I mean, that's an integral part of those 60s.
Yeah.
From the beginning, they were showing those, like, Mighty Marvel pinups in the back and stuff.
Marvel Masterworks,
you know, maybe
man.
just didn't sell an ad that month, and they had to put something together, and they were really simple.
Yeah.
And over time, like, you see their evolution. Like, that's pretty good. And I would get excited, like, Wolverine galleries, you know, where it'd be like some hot artist I like doing a strange interpretation of this character. So.
Totally, man. Anyhow, there it is, man. Classic X-Men is Chris Claremont's X-Men Grand Design, his opportunity to go back, do a little retcon, do a little massaging of the lore to try to make it all work and fit into what he's currently doing at that time in '86. You know,
Did
so
you
it's got a
find
5-year run.
When you were putting together X-Men Grand Design that you were, like, remembering stuff from the revision and being like, oh shit, that wasn't...
Yeah, but, you know, that's all part of the
That's
soup
not how I
anyhow.
remember that. Talk about messing with your memory. Like, now you're
Totally.
reading, like, the source material and going, wait a minute, I thought...
You know, it's like when you see a movie trailer and then the part from the movie trailer is not in the final movie, and you totally know you remember seeing that stuff. Scary movie. I see white people everywhere. It's in the trailer. It's not in the movie. Anyhow, probably not the last issue of this stuff we'll take a look at, man. If for nothing more than just, like, the super dope John Bolton backups at times, man.
Have those been collected?
That's a good question. I don't think so.
It feels like that'd be a really good-looking book.
Yeah, but why would they do such a thing? Good to go?
Yeah.
Kayfabers, like, follow, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit the bell. We'll notify you when new vids are available. What's out there, man?
Hulk Grand Design Monster #1 coming to comic shops this month in March. So tell your local comic shop you want a copy if you haven't already. And Hulk Grand Design Madness #1 coming to comic shops in April. So tell your comic shop you want one of those as well.
Red Room Trigger Warnings, issue #1, hitting the stands March 9th, coming out every month for 4 months. Murder on the Dark Web for fun and profit. Every single issue completely self-contained. You can get these comics at your local comic shop, get it put on your pull list each month. Go to the Fantagraphics site, pre-order the stuff there, or read the comics on my Patreon, patreon.com/edpiscor. $3 for the archive there. All my comics hit the Patreon before they hit paper. And you can get to all these links on my link tree in the description below this video. Jimmy, what else do we have out there?
Subscribe to the Cartoonist Kayfabe e-newsletter at the links below the video. You can also find Cartoonist Kayfabe t-shirts and merchandise at the links below the video.
That's another great way to support the Cartoonist Kayfabe channel. Jimmy, given the marching orders, we'll be on our way.
Read more comics.